Hello friends, welcome to my class of electrostatics. Now in this class we will start with the concept of electric field lines, electric flux and subsequently Gauss's law. Now let's begin with the simplest possible case, that is a single point charge q and that is situated at the origin. Now suppose at a particular distance r from the origin, the electric field expression will be like this: 1 by 4 by epsilon naught q by r square r cap. So r is the distance from the charge to the point where we want to find out the electric field, and r cap is the direction of the electric field from the charge. Now to get a field for this field, we can sketch a few representative vectors which is shown over here. Now because the field falls off like 1 by r square, the vectors get shorter as you go further away from the origin, and they always point radially outward. But there is a nicer way to represent this field, and that is, if we connect up all the arrows we can form the field lines. Now you might think that I have thereby thrown away information about the strength of the field, so which was actually contained in the length of the arrows, but actually it is not happening. The magnitude of the field is indicated by the density of field lines. So it is strong near the center where the charge is situated, and there the field lines are close together, and weak if you are far apart from the charge, right? So let's understand what is density of field lines. Now if in two-dimensional surface like this, the density of lines passing through a circle of radius r is the total number divided by the circumference, and that is n by 2 pi r. So 2 pi r is the circumference of this circle of radius r. So it goes like 1 by r, not 1 by r square. But if you think the model in 3 dimension, then the density of lines is the total number divided by the area of the sphere. So that is n by 4 pi r square. So it goes like 1 by r square, right? So now what, let's discuss some properties of this electric field line. So the number of lines depends on the value of the charge, and they emanate from a point of positive charge, and they will come out from the positive charge symmetrically and terminate at a negative charge. Now from this figure we can understand how the number of field lines depends on the value of the charge. So in this figure, this charge is positive charge and this charge is negative charge, and the magnitude is same. So we can see whatever field lines is coming out from this positive charge, that ends at the negative end. So the density of field lines at positive charge is same as the density of field lines at the negative charge. And this is the field lines for two positive charges of same magnitude. So the density of field lines around this charge is same as the density of field lines around this positive charge, and we will get the neutral point at the middle of these two charges. Okay. Now suppose this is 2q, positive 2q charge, and this is minus q charge. So we can tell, for example, from here the number of field lines which is coming out from this 2q charge is 12, and the number of field lines which ends at minus q charge, that is 6. So you can see the number is half. The number which is terminating at minus q charge, that is half of the number of field lines which is originating from 2q charge. right? So the density of field lines around 2q charge is greater than the field lines around minus q charge. Density of field lines around minus q charge. So we can tell an important point here that the number of field lines originating or terminating on a charge is proportional to the magnitude of the charge. Another important property is tangent to a field line at any point gives the direction of the electric field at that point. And this will be the instantaneous path of a charge will take if kept there. Now, another point that two or more field lines can never intersect each other because at the intersection point they cannot have multiple directions. Then, uniform field lines are straight, parallel, and uniformly placed. Field lines cannot form a loop. Now, the number of field lines passing through a perpendicular unit area will be proportional to the magnitude of electric field there. Now, suppose this is a surface S and electric field lines is crossing through this surface. Now, the total number of field lines passing through this surface area can be quantified like this. So, this is the surface integration E dot dA. Now, what is this E dot dA? So, E dot dA represents the number of field lines passing through this elemental area dA, and E dot dm is the dot product between them. So, it represents the perpendicular component of electric field along the dA. Now, if we want to find out the total number of field lines passing through this surface, we have to integrate our total surface area, and that will give us the electric flux. Now, let's understand this more elaborately. So, the flux is actually proportional to the number of lines drawn. Because the field strength is proportional to the density of field lines, and that is the number per unit area. So hence E dot dA is proportional to the number of lines passing through the infinitesimal area dA, and here this dot product actually tells the component of dA along the direction of E, right? That is also we can tell. So it is only the area in the plane perpendicular to the electric field that we have in mind when we say that the density of field lines is the number per unit area. Now, this suggests that the flux through any closed surface is a measure of the total charge inside. Suppose for the field lines that originate from a positive charge here in this picture, must I either pass out through the surface or else terminate at another negative charge inside? Or on the other hand, in this picture, a charge outside the surface will contribute nothing to the total flux since its field lines passes in one side and out to the other side. Now, this is the essence of Gauss's law, and in the next class, we will quantify the Gauss's law, how to use this Gauss's law to find out the electric field, what is the importance of Gauss's law, and what is the drawback of the Gauss's law. Okay, thank you.